when I first got into this, I would always be like, wow, look at that new Bobcat. Look at that. I'd love to have that. That'd be great. And now I have that stuff. And I've never thought there'd come a day that I'd own these new pieces of equipment and not even step foot to operate them.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I never thought that would ever happen.
Today we're joined by Jenna and Bob Urban, a husband and wife team building community-centered, family-run businesses right here in northeastern Pennsylvania. From LMJ Sheds to Lawn and Order Landscaping to Sport Hill Creamery, they've turned entrepreneurship into a family legacy rooted in service, connection, and local pride. In this episode, we talk about building businesses together, staying grounded in your values, and creating impact that lasts well beyond the bottom line. So thank you guys so much for coming today.
No problem.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and we were just talking, this is a busy season for both of you as you kick off into your landscaping and shed businesses. But why don't you guys give us a little introduction?
I'm Bob Urban. I have Lawn and Order Landscaping. We also have the Sheds company. Besides that, I'm a full-time. I work at the state police. I'm a 21-year trooper, so getting close to my end that way. But I started my landscaping business back in 2008 and just been going nonstop since then.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm Jenna Urban, and I run the shed business, and we started selling sheds back in 2021.
Yeah.
Right after COVID. Bob was doing a lot of shed pads, and he came to me. He had an uncle that sold sheds in Honesdale, and he always wanted to sell sheds, and he said, hey, I think we should start selling some sheds. And at the time I was a full-time teacher, and it was right after COVID. There was everybody was like looking for money to teach summer school. They were looking to capitalize on that. And I joked and said, oh, no, I think I'm selling sheds this summer. And everybody just rolled their eyes because they know that we're always up to something. So we put a couple of sheds on our landscaping lot, and it took off. And at that time, we decided that it was best for me to leave my teaching position and come on to the businesses full time. So then we bought the lot across the street. We moved sheds over there. And since then, now Bob delivers our sheds as well. So we have a one-stop shop for somebody looking for a shed and landscaping.
Yeah, and dumpsters I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Why not? Why not do it all?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And you're a podcast host.
Yes, my sister and I have a podcast, and I was just telling Bob before that it's more like just to hang out with each other, and we've done interviews and series and stuff like that, but it's on hold right now as I'm jumping into other businesses and just trying to keep my head above the water. We also have 3 children. So we have a senior in high school. We're navigating that, college and stuff like that, a freshman daughter, and a 7th grade son.
Wow. So you're busy.
Yeah.
So when people say they're busy, they can't even compare to what you guys have going on.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you wake up in the morning with energy or regret?
No. Every morning I wake up and I feel, am I supposed to be tired all the time?
Yeah.
I mean, not all the time, but you just think about what's going on throughout, because there's a lot going on. And then some people that don't have a lot going on in their lives will be like, hey, did you check in on this? I'm like, that has been the furthest from my mind.
Yeah.
I don't even think about that. It's a lot of things that just go on.
Yeah.
Busy.
Absolutely. I always try, it's the stage of your life. I work with a lot of retirees, and sometimes you try to make an appointment with somebody and they say, Tuesday I'm getting my hair done. And you're like, the entire day is gone.
Oh, no, that's
Oh my God.
But they're
like
in a
that.
different stage, right? And they actually want to space things out, so they have something on the calendar to look forward to. I get that, but you're not in that stage right now.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Someday, I hope.
Right.
I
Well,
know.
I don't know if we will ever
I
be
was
in
gonna
that
say.
stage, because I feel like it's always been a hustle. I don't know.
But it's one of those things where I've done it so long and you feel like you could do it forever, but you can't. I could tell the way I used to do it. When I was 27, 28 years old, I would be like, oh, I could work a 8-hour shift. And if it's snowing out, I have no problem. I can go out and plow 2 hours later and then go back into work in the morning. Could never do it anymore. Could
No,
never
but it's
do
also factoring in the kids, right? And their school activities, and just trying to make it to different games and swim meet. And
Jenna goes
helping
to all
with
that.
the carpool.
I honestly, I wish I could have went to more things, but I just was working all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just the way it was. If they want that type of shoe, I'm help out and get them that. So it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that stands out to me here is that I always call BS, if I'll be polite on the podcast. I call BS when I see people on Instagram and on the videos, and they talk about how they mapped out this 30-year business plan and strategy. And I think, I don't know. I don't really know anybody that's been very successful that had it all played out. And
Never
it sounds like you are I don't want to say opportunistic. That almost feels like a bad word, but you have your head up.
Yeah.
You're busy, but you're also picking your head up to go, hey, the sheds,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the dumpsters, whatever you guys are doing.
You have to keep your options open, because I look for stuff too. If I'm slow in one area, with my employees, I could say, let's do this. There's always something. I learned last year, like when it came to scheduling wise, I'd always be nervous, not nervous, but just be like, God, what am I going to have the guys do?
Yeah.
What do I need them to do today? But come to find out last year, there's always something to do. Always, no matter what.
Something that stood out to me, you're in a seasonal business, right? I think somebody on the outside, sort of uneducated, would go, oh, what do they do in the winter? They just shut it down.
Yeah. We do somewhat I'll keep a few guys going in the wintertime because we do plow, a lot of maintenance. So I have a lot of equipment that I have that when I keep new stuff, and I treat it very well because of how much they cost. So we do all our own maintenance on everything. Like Saturdays, I have a few guys, instead of going out, all the trucks, all the equipment get washed, get everything done. So like they keep looking brand new. That's one of the things that clients have said to me before. They're like, every time you come here, your stuff just looks good. And that's a good selling point. Like, you don't want to pull up like Joe the Ragman that's rattling apart and everything else, because it really makes a difference in how you present yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it does.
Yeah. And honestly, like when we first got together, Bob was a photographer at the Scranton Times, and like I was a teacher. So I basically mapped out my life in the fact that I was going to have summers off so I could be home in the summer with my kids. And then Bob went into the academy right after we got married and became a state trooper. And then a couple years later, he started doing some mowing lawns and then doing some excavating and so forth. And that gradually grew. And I enjoyed my time in the season of life of being a teacher and being home and present, going to school with my kids. And then I did think as they grew and I grew out of that season, I looked at the fact that the winter, as you said, is our downtime. And that's when we are the busiest with our kids being involved in things. So now it works because I'm so busy in the winter with them that I could go and hustle in the summer because they don't need me as much.
Yeah.
And we've looked at opportunities like how can we grow our businesses or what can we add to it that we could sustain. And very similar to the fact that we were talking before about having the ice cream stand. I had said to Bob, my shed business, I'm not there all the time. I'm not the typical dealer. Like I'm not there. People think that I'm just sitting on the shed lot waiting for people to show up, but I've got 3 kids that I'm running around because he's working. So that was a battle between the two of us. Like, how much more could we make if we were there on the lot? And I was like, I just can't sit there and not do anything. And he was like, what if we just put an ice cream stand there? And like the kids can work at the ice cream stand and your office can be there. And I was like, yeah, we could put it in the shed. And so that's where we're at now, is we are going to try to transform the shed lot into a destination, somewhere that families can come and hang out. They could take a look at the shed. So I could be there selling the sheds, but then I could also be there with my kids, teaching them the business aspect.
You can make a food truck shaped like a shed.
Yeah, we thought about that.
We're constantly like, what else can we do next? But
we probably it's just getting the ice cream stand up and running. That's been difficult, just having to go through different hurdles of a place that's already been there, but it doesn't happen. You have to do all this development and planning where sometimes, and that you could have parked a vehicle there and sold and it wouldn't have been an issue.
Yeah.
You know, but you want to look long term. I don't want to have a truck or a trailer parked there the whole time. I want to make it nice.
I have a question for you, Jenna.
Yeah.
When you going back to that, you had to make that leap of faith. You had put how many years as a teacher?
So 17 years as a teacher. So there was actually a transitional. I originally left to take a 9-to-5 at Wilkes University.
Okay.
And I had 90 days there, and we really thought the kids were going to be okay. They were older, so it was a good time for me to move to my next career. And I felt like the 9 to 5, I felt boxed in, right? Like I was done with my work and I had to still sit in an office for like 2 or 3 more hours. And it just didn't make sense to me. And then the commute, and then also what I was missing out. And then that was in the winter. And then this like as the spring was coming up, it was people were calling about sheds, and I was sitting in an office, and I could not balance both. I couldn't just run up and meet them. I had to make appointments around my 9 to 5 job, and then also around being a mom and getting my kids to different practices and so forth. So we gave it 90 days, and we sat down and reevaluated. And Bob was starting to get busy as well in the spring, and we were like, something's got to give. And I was like, you know what? At this point in my life, I'm okay with building the businesses, and there'll be time for my own aspirations at some point. I'm comfortable with that. And it was a good move because then I was still able to be that hands-on mom. I was able to go in and volunteer at the kids' school, and I was there for them. And then I could meet people like on the side and still run the shed business. And I do a lot for Bob's business as well with marketing and the help with payroll and making phone calls and scheduling and so forth.
Wow, that's a lot. You know what I love is that you've defined your version of success together, what that looks like for both of you, each of you, but also your entire family, and then you just created it.
Yeah, took a while, but
yeah. But you're continually doing that, and you're continually assessing what does success look like for us, and how do we make this work?
Yeah.
And to your point earlier, you said there's always something for the guys to do. There's always an opportunity for you to create your life, which is beautiful. I think it's so inspirational.
It took a while for that. Like for me, when I first started out doing the landscaping, it would just be a few guys that I worked with would help me on days off. My father-in-law, my dad, we would all do it. And I started to hire a couple more people, but it was very hard for me to be hands off. So it really took a lot for me to get more people in, for me to be less hands off, to go do your estimates, to go do this and go do that. But when I hired people and got more people in, and my guys are good, like they know how to do everything. That's when the business took off a lot more, because I was able to get out there, talk to different people, get different estimates, go around. And I wish I could have a clone of myself. I need another person like me.
Do another 5 years, you might be able to.
I know. Like I need someone else like to get out there and do other things, but it'll come along as things seem to work out. So we'll see what happens.
How do you find your team? Do you do straight up like applications? We're taking applications, or word of mouth?
Word of mouth. Yeah. A lot of the guys that work for me have friends that'll work. Now this year I did try something different. I tried Indeed, right? Yep. I tried it. I got a lot of applicants. I did end up hiring 2 people. I have a pretty good judge of character. So when I meet them, I could tell if I think they're going to be good or not. So far, it's only been a week. We'll have to play this podcast with theirs and see how it is. But they seem to be very good so far. So we'll see.
We have a couple of retared troopers that mow lawns.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Our kids, some of their friends that mow lawns. Our son is involved. Both of our sons help out with the business. Our oldest son undercut and went into his own business and started his own business. So I think being role models for them and teaching them what life looks like as they're looking at their careers and what they want to go into. And I think they see how the flexibility that we have with the businesses, and they like that route. They don't want to go the traditional, like they know that they can't be a 9 to 5, like that type of thing. And seeing us do it, I think inspires them to take chances. And as soon as they have an idea, I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's create a website. Let's do this. Because I have the tech background. So I was an IT specialist. So I'm able to do a lot of that. So I do all of our websites and social media and stuff like that. So I try to get them involved as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Keep them going. Yeah.
I like your site. The pictures are great on your website. Some testimonials with video. I think it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I think that's what people want when it comes to doing like your whole backyard over again. That's daunting.
It does.
I don't know where to start. But your videos show the people sitting there saying, I didn't know where to start, and I got you guys, and they made me feel great. And
sometimes I wish it was like back in 1990, or where you can be out
every day. I wish it was
you get so busy. And people call, and which is great, but I would much rather go back at the end of the day and hit the answering machine.
Oh, yeah.
Because that way, there's so many times when I am working and doing stuff and you're getting calls and it can become dangerous because you're working with a machine and calls and everything else. I'm grateful to be busy, but a lot of times I wish it was back like it was years ago.
We did put boundaries. Like we have 2 separate lines. We try to even for the sheds, we have an app that we use. So we have different numbers. Like sometimes he'll hand me his landscaping phone. Hey, can you call these people and schedule? So then we don't get those interruptions. But it's just putting up those boundaries that I think are so important. And we feel like we have to we have the instant gratification of feeling we have to answer people right away or we're going to lose them as a customer. So I think giving people more transparency and where we're at in the schedule and so forth. But Bob said before, handing things off, like he still is having trouble handing off different things that he wants to have control of. Like I'll say, hey, let's try this new project management software, like to schedule things. And he has his traditional way of doing it, right?
It's just, you just
someday
have
they'll come together. But...
you just have to give trust in people. That's what you have to do. But it takes time to do that.
Yeah, we found that in my business. I used to do everything. I was the only one here, right? Originally, the OG, I guess. But we've talked about this before. It's a humbling thing, and it's also a sign of success when I look at the people that I've handed off to. And not only are they able to they do it differently than I was doing it.
Yeah.
But in a lot of cases, they do it better. And that allows me to continue to. That's a very difficult process, and definitely not one that happens overnight.
Yeah, it takes a little while to do it.
So, talking about boundaries, I'm going to jump in here with this. As soon as you guys came on the calendar, Maria's, I think I might have the Urbans coming. I was like, I'd really like to know, because many people will go, I could never work with my spouse.
Yeah.
You guys seem to be rocking it. I'm sure it's not perfect, but
we do work together, but we don't I don't know.
It's not like you sit in a cubicle.
So a lot of our times in the morning, having morning coffee, it might be like we're basically watching the news and it's, okay, I need this. How about this delivery? When can you do this? And we're like going back and forth. He's on his computer doing stuff and I'll have the phone sometimes out, the calendar. So it's like getting those schedules in order. Or hitting each other up while we're in the car together, just throughout the day. But that's probably our biggest struggle is getting better systems in place for everything. But like bringing on that we may have to take the leap and hire somebody to help strategically with that. But it's hard because we're also balancing a family, right? A household, a family, kids with emotions and different things going on and struggles and trying to deal with that as well. But I think the open line of communication is so important. And I think we play off each other and we do reach out to people when we need help, especially with the kids and brides with stuff. And then having, my in-laws are great and they're very helpful with even jumping in and going for a shed delivery and bringing trucks down and stuff like that. And my parents are the same way with my dad. If we needed someone to mow, at one point, my sister was even mowing lawns for us. So it's really bringing those people in. Recently, my sister-in-law is going to start selling sheds with us. So we were looking to expand.
That's just because you're bringing the ice cream in.
I know.
That's right.
But so it's finding those little moments sometimes he'll say to me, I'm not in the mood for this.
I go nonstop all the time and I'll just be like, I can't deal with it now.
I'm like, I just need to get on the schedule to know what's going on. But
but it works out.
I call bullshit on the whole work-life balance conversation. And that's why I see you guys like you're mixing, blending, integrating. How do you feel about work-life balance and what that definition is?
I don't think there's ever balance. That you could find some sort of harmony, but I don't think there's balance. And I agree. I find bullshit in that. And I think it's just a matter of the different seasons of our life as well. You can't have, you could have it all, but you can't have it all at once, is I think what we both realize. So it's putting things on hold and then focusing more on whatever, even with the kids, whichever kid it is, and that needs our attention. Same thing with the business, having those different seasons. But I don't know.
Yeah,
it's hard to balance.
Yeah, it just seems to work out.
It's just fluid and natural for you, and you don't have to compare yourself to any others.
Well, I think to prioritize, right? One day something might be really high priority that we need to get done, whereas the other day it's not a big deal to hand it off to somebody else or to put it to the side. And then knowing that there's no 2 days that are the same, and we're okay with that.
And we're not argumentative people. Like, we don't argue about the stuff. Like, even with, I'm not an argumentative person, so you just let it go and let it work out the best way it can. That's the way it seems to be.
Yeah,
that's interesting. I would almost feel, I don't know, the contractors and the landscapers and folks, they're almost the opposite of that. They're just so used to somebody like, oh, this isn't quite how I asked for it to be done. And they're almost I feel like they're on the defensive a lot. So that's kind of a refreshing attitude.
I hear from a lot of clients that I have now that may have had other people or had everybody come up, and they would say how the guy was yelling at them, arguing the other landscaper excavator. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
See, in my case, we grew up, the customers usually, even if they're not right, they're usually right, and you try to make it. But what I see a lot, you have a lot of younger kids now in their early 20s, mid 20s that don't have that interaction with people.
Yeah.
When they've been said they were right about everything their whole life, they were given a trophy for everything their whole life. So if they say, I don't like how this, they completely lose it. No, and I've seen that with a few different companies around, and I've heard it from clients. And I think that just comes, they have to learn. They have to learn to interact with people and how to.
Major life and business changes can really shake things up, for worse, and sometimes, I believe, for the better. As a certified neuro coach, I know that when we are in an area of transformation in our lives that we did not choose, or maybe we did, we're bumped up against our comfort zone. And when that happens, our subconscious mind gets louder and louder and tries to pull us back to where we feel safe. But I know, as a certified neuro coach, that this is the perfect time to take this transformation and turn it into something that you desire, something that you want. This is the perfect time to rewire those old limiting beliefs that have gotten in your way, and let's break free from that in this time of transformation and make it work for you. Let's turn this into a magical moment. I would love to hear from you. You can book a call on my website at mariaconaglero.com. Let's make this transformation last.
Going back to how you guys work together, I think is unique in that I know a lot of husband and wife teams. One in particular stands out to me that for many years, in that case, he was running the small business and she was a stay-at-home mom. I always thought there was more that they could do together. I felt like she was an asset that could be an asset to the business, but he didn't know how to invite her to help or be willing to let somebody help. And I can't even explain why, but in recent years that has flipped, and they are like this well-oiled machine now and accomplishing so much more than he on his own could do. I wish they had picked their head up. We're giving you guys credit for picking your head up every once in a while and doing some assessing, which I think most people fail to do. You just get so busy. Was that planned out, like for you guys to, when you say we're going to look at this and then 90 days we're going to reevaluate the sheds and stuff?
No, it just happened, just flows.
Bob was always very supportive because I've always done stuff on the side, right? So like when I was on maternity leave, I was like getting into blogging, and then I was doing TV segments. And so I was always hustling and doing something on the side. And when I went back to teaching, I knew it wasn't going to be my end game. I was just there because my kids were there. I enjoyed going in. Like, the schedule was perfect for raising the kids, but I knew it wasn't my end game. So he was always supportive of that and knew that I had this desire for creativity and to be involved in other things. At that time, I was not involved in the business as much as maybe I was doing some social media or giving him marketing tips and stuff like that. But because my kids were so small and I was focusing all my extra energy on them. Mm-hmm. So it was as they got a little bit older and that I was helping out with different things that he had asked for. And then at that time of making the pivot, which he was very supportive of, to take the chance and leave my secure teaching position to take this risk, and then evaluating after 90 days. I think because those 90 days, it was like really bad because it was a whole different schedule that we were used to. And we were both very stressed out, and we knew that something had to change, and I couldn't commit to taking this job full time.
Yeah.
It's a lot. There's a lot. I just feel like I want to ask a bunch of questions. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking about you as individuals and like what lights you up individually. And is there time for that? Or is everything you do just lighting you up and keeping you motivated to just keep going?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think we have our individual, like I'm very regimented in my schedule. So my routine in the morning and going for a walk and getting that done, listening to a podcast or do podcasting and having that creative outlet as well to be able to create and post on Facebook, update the website and do those videos and stuff like that. So those are things that I enjoy. I know Bob, I don't want to speak for him, but he likes to play on equipment and move things around and be up at his family has a farm. So he likes to go up there and hunt and do those type of things.
Yeah, I'm not like one, honestly, like I've been on podcasts. I don't listen to them. I just can't. Like I'm always thinking about other stuff. It's just, I would love to try to find something to listen to or do anything, but I just look, and I do a lot of traveling. I do a lot of shed deliveries, so I'll be in a truck 8 hours a day sometimes. So basically I just listen to Sirius. But I try to get into podcasts and then I'll be listening and I'll be like, what did they just say for the past 4 minutes?
Yeah.
You know, like
it's not for everybody.
It's
right.
not,
But nobody's saying
can't.
you have to listen to podcasts. I'm saying what she's asking is what you enjoy doing.
Yeah, that. But I would try to.
He enjoys moving dirt from one pile to
that.
another pile and to
Yeah.
see how many rocks that he could.
Looking like for ideas. I like thinking of other things that I could do, thinking of a better way to do something.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. I would be happy. I like going and nutsing around like on Saturdays or Sundays, taking a piece of equipment with me, doing something, messing around, and that's what I like doing. But I do
testing the equipment.
Yeah, testing it. I never thought there'd come a day like when I first got into this. I would always be like, wow, look at that new Bobcat. Look at that. I'd love to have that. That'd be great. And now I have that stuff. And I've never thought there'd come a day that I'd own these new pieces of equipment and not even step foot to operate them.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I never thought that would ever happen. And that's weird for me. So I always like to get in something and try it out to see how it is, but never in a million years that I thought I would buy something and really not even get in it and operate it.
Wow.
Yeah. You guys, I think people oftentimes when they're getting into a small business, they don't realize that if it's done well, and I think you guys are a great example, it really isn't, it's a lifestyle. Right? Because I know that you say you've created boundaries, right? The best you can, but you still look at your phone and the texts that come in at 8:30, 10 o'clock, or whenever you go to bed. And first thing you do in the morning is see what's loaded up overnight. Just look for the fires that have to be put out and make sure the guys and girls that are working with you are lined up. But it's not 9 to 5. You said it's not for everybody, but some people like the 9 to 5. They have to shut it down. I'm not looking at my laptop until tomorrow.
Sometimes we think about that. I'm like, boy, that sounds pretty good right now. Just coming home and not worrying about anything, and 9 o'clock getting a phone call about shed delivery the next day, and it's I got to answer this or complete the sale. And that's where, when I first started selling sheds, I was approaching it as got to sell. And like all hours of the day. And I was like being late to my kids' games and this and that. And then I had to put those boundaries up of, okay, they could wait till tomorrow. Like it's just a shed. Like putting things into, same thing with the landscaping. Like it's okay to put off to go to voicemail and think about going to the answering machine at the end of the day. We have to be okay with that. But it didn't happen overnight that we were okay with it in the beginning. But it's kind of learning as you go along.
It's still tough for me. I have a hard time with boundaries. If I see that there's somebody or hear somebody that wants to look at a shed, or I don't care what's going on, I'll leave and go do that.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I'll leave.
It's hard to think anybody has like an emergency shed situation.
Yeah.
But I'm sure people call you on a Tuesday, and then when you say it'll be like 2 weeks out, and they're like, I was really hoping to have it by Friday, by this weekend. You're like, really?
Right.
And that's why we got into the delivery aspect of it. We tried to make it where, hey, if you buy the shed and they said, oh, we really need it like in a couple days, we can make that happen. Where before you would have to wait for the delivery company to schedule, and you would still be, they normally said 12 to 14 days it would take to get it, even if it was on the lot, just because there aren't a lot of people. There's a ton of sheds out there, but there's not a lot of people that move them.
So are you guys inventorying the sheds?
Yeah, we have them, and then you could do 2 builds also. Yeah. So you can design what you want, and they build it.
Yeah, we have 2 locations, one in Lake Ariel and one in Denver.
How fancy do these things get?
We have people designing them to live in them.
Really?
I did one that I use for a cabin on our farm. We did it. I did a 14 by 32 with a front porch on it. Wow. But I got it bare bones on the inside. I did all the electrical on the inside, and then I got 6-inch tongue and groove pine. It's awesome on the inside, so it's neat.
Our ice cream stand is going to be, and that's a 14 by 30.
40.
14 by 40, yeah.
Wow.
So again, that was coming up with a design for that, and the inside having my office on one side and then the ice cream on the other, and then knowing where the electrical, and that's been a long process of just trying to figure out the inside part.
That's sitting on a slab, a concrete slab?
Gravel.
All of them? Even the larger ones are?
The larger one. Normally, if we do a bigger one, like with my hunting cabin that I did up there, if I had to do it all over again, I would have put it on a concrete slab. Just because especially with your normal shed has regular barn doors that open and close. So if there's a little shifting because of frost or anything, it really doesn't matter with them. But with a regular man door with a latch, if you get a little, we've had it with my cabin up there this year where it would freeze a little bit or do whatever. Next thing the door is not shutting. Yeah, you have to adjust it. So I would definitely do it on a concrete.
For a garage or something. If you're putting a car in it. We've had people do that as well.
And you guys do the concrete too?
Yeah.
He does that too.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
See, you're a one-stop shop. That's the thing. If you want something done, you're going to go and get it done by the people who are going to make sure that happens on your timeline.
Yeah. You'd be amazed how many people want sheds. It's crazy. Like everybody wants them.
And different reasons. So I think, again, that's how my sales has evolved too. Like at first it was like I was just selling a shed. Now I'm like, selling to their needs. Right now, that's the first question I ask them. Like, what do you need to put in this? Are you using it for storage? Or a lot of times they're using it. They just want a utility shed. So then we could price out the utility shed if they want to, or if they want to live in it, or if they want to use it as home office. Okay, let's think about where the windows are going to be placed. So it's not just selling the shed. So I'm not so anxious to get the sale. I want to make sure that customers are getting what they need. And again, that was evolving over the last couple of years to learn those type of skills. And I think that's where Bob and I both were very good communicators with people, and we're very transparent. So even going back to if somebody calls me and they're like, I'm on your shed lot. And I'm like, I'm in car line to pick up my 7th grader right now. And then I have to run my daughter to basketball. And I could meet you. I work by appointments and I'm very transparent. If I'm not around, I'm going to say I can't be there. And sometimes we get people that are very angry. And most of the time we have people that understand. There's a life outside of our businesses. Absolutely. So we just ask for respect with that.
Yeah.
You can't please everybody.
No.
They'll definitely tell you if you don't. Yeah. I'm throwing this idea out so you can have this one for free or throw it in the garbage. Is anybody using, if you're able to take a shed and potentially make it an ice cream stand, is anybody turning them into outdoor kitchens and grills? Like where you can actually open it up and maybe have a little counter there.
Yeah, like concession stands. We've had people like pool houses. Definitely, we're able to build a pool house, a concession stand.
Yeah, concession stands because you could get the windows that go from the side, or you can get a flip up to it. But it all depends on what they're willing to build. So you can find other builders that we've worked with that want to create whatever it is out there. But with our main business right now, it's basically with our company, we deal with Sheds Direct. They have their templates that they use.
So is Sheds the biggest growing part of your business today, or is it the landscaping? Or
I don't know. I would say they're both growing equally.
Both. Both are doing all right. Like right now, I'm booked until September.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's
that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. Yeah. But with the sheds, we're just looking to expand. Our goal is to put some sheds up at our family farm to have our 3rd location. We tried Montrose last year. It didn't work out. We closed it. We weren't going to ride that out. And I think that's important too, to recognize when something's not working and to make the decision to close it. And then, we're going to try to put them up there. Started building out a sales team of people that I'm training, taking them on and teaching them how to sell. So then I could dedicate more time to the ice cream stand. And
I love
we'll
this.
see.
How, as a financial planner, right, as a firm that helps a lot of small business owners, who do you guys, and you don't have to name names or anything, but do you guys do all your financial stuff like in-house? Do you when is it time, if you've gotten there before, that you start leaning on outside professionals for some of this stuff, and how much do you keep in-house?
We had just like a friend that was doing our taxes, that did taxes when we were single and then married and then children, but then to take on the business aspect, I think it got too big for him. We just hired a new accountant this year we're working with. We had a financial planner for when because I officially retired from teaching. So that was like, how do I roll that into an IRA and so forth. So we do go to outside sources for that. For the ice cream business, we had our kids they each own 2% of the business.
Nice.
And then
they better start working in
That's
it.
right.
So we're going to put that into a Roth IRA for their retirement to try to start building that out. So I think it's just trying to lay down the foundation for them. But we definitely try to outsource as much as possible. We started using ADP for payroll, which has been a huge help. So we're utilizing that because before that we were just doing it on our own, writing the checks, and it was a lot to balance.
Outside of your immediate family, how many employees?
Right, I have 10.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's going off on a little bit of a tangent, circling back to something you guys were saying I may have missed this because you were just loading me up on info. I was digesting slowly. Where does you both seem to have the entrepreneurial DNA? Is that inherited or did that just come from somewhere else? Like you said your dad's working with you?
He did, yeah. He still does. Like he'll drive and stuff like that for me here and there.
But you both went into what most people would call regular jobs and were doing those and doing those well. And all of a sudden you started to get this, hey, we're going to start our own business.
Right. I think it started as a side hustle, really.
It did. For me, I guess we were always, when I was a kid, I was always putting in my head that not to have a business. You want something that, is going to be steady. You want something that you're not going to have to worry about whether something's coming in. But if I had to do it all over again, I would have done this from the get-go.
Yeah.
Yep. If I had to do it all over again, you have to, in order to have a business, once you have it, majority of people are successful with a business. And I don't like the thing is to tell you that you have to settle and you have to have that the constant income's nice. Don't get me wrong. It is. Who's to say that's going to be there forever? Right. And then you have, you do that. What happens if you get hurt and you can't do your landscaping anymore? What happens if I go down the road tomorrow, get in an accident doing something? You can't look at stuff like that. But you got to just figure what you're doing and keep going. Like I would tell anybody, one person told me years ago, and it always stuck with me. They said, you don't get rich working for somebody. And when I thought about it, and that's when I worked at the Scranton Times, and the one guy told me that, and I'm like, and not that you're getting rich,
right?
But I'm thinking rich in life, rich in everything else. It's so nice to be able to, if you have your own business, hey, you know what? I'm meeting so-and-so on Friday. Okay, I'll just rearrange some things around and do that. You work a 9 to 5, you're either using time off, you're doing this, you're doing that. Now, don't get me wrong. My career has been very good to me with the state. It's been great. I love it. I loved every minute of it. But if I had to do it again, I would have continued with my landscaping business right from the get-go. I would have did that the whole time. Yeah, it's just more fulfilling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the Schwarzenegger comment about not having a plan B.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen that. And I feel like I'm destined to make a really bad Schwarzenegger impression. I won't do it. Yeah. But he says plan B is the worst. Don't have a plan B. That way you're guaranteed your plan A will work.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't always subscribe to that, but it is interesting. I don't know if you would have made all the same decisions if you didn't have that stability part, too.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Yeah, you don't know. Or I could have been...
I look at it the opposite way because I feel like had we not had that stable income, we would not have been able to take the risks that we did. Yeah. So like growing it on the side gradually and then having the stability, because then we could buy the upgraded equipment and so forth. But this is a conversation that we have with our kids all the time, especially our son as a senior. And so we have different perspectives of just going to work, why would you spend all that money on college? But in recognizing, too, that all of our kids are so different. So, like, they may want to go and learn something, and we keep telling them, like, learn something new and bring it back to the business so we can expand. And I honestly don't know if any of our kids will come back to the business. I hope so, but they want to come back to one of them. One of the businesses that we have, one will come back, but knowing that they have to make their own decisions, right? Whether it's college or the trade school and so forth. But doing what makes them happy. And I think that's what we tried to tell them. Make sure like you don't want to be, if you don't want to be boxed in all day, if you like being creative and or working with your hands and looking at the different careers that are available. And there's so much out there available that we didn't have. It wasn't that when we were going to college, it wasn't like, oh, you should go to business, open up a business. That was like too much of a risk, right?
Yeah,
nobody was saying
wanted to
open up a business. But so I think that entrepreneurship, I've always had it. Like I was the girl selling lemonade on the corner, buying candy, penny candy and selling it for 2 cents at my own little stand. So I always had the bug. Growing up, I had a paper route. Like I was always looking to make money. And then, as I mentioned before we got in there, like I worked at an ice cream stand. So I loved it. I loved working at an ice cream stand. And I'll tell different stories about my friends in the summer and what we did. And I was there for probably 7 or 8 years. And that's where Bob and I met at the ice cream stand when he was a photographer at the time. And like I was in grad school.
And you're like, how much ice cream for this guy?
No, it's like every Sunday. It was so funny because every Sunday I'm like, oh my God, the Hot Times guy's here again. And so then I was up in graduate school at East Stroudsburg, and there was a girl in my class that worked out the Times, and I would always ask her, and she'd bring pictures in of Bob, like from the paper, and she's, isn't this the guy? I'm like, yeah, that's the Hot Times guy. He comes every Sunday for a chocolate malt. And then that following fall, we were at Rudy's for homecoming weekend. I was in graduate school at Stroudsburg, and I did not even know that he was an alumni, and he was there at Rudy's for homecoming weekend, and then we were together since. So now we've come. So now my daughter's basically, I'm going to meet my future husband at our ice cream stand.
That's so cute.
Better watch out for that.
Coming full circle.
Right?
I know. So that's always been, who doesn't want to open an ice cream stand when they're kids? So I'm excited about that. But yeah, entrepreneurship, we were trying to get our kids, and they do. During COVID, we did Cricut stuff. Like it was always like they were always selling something. So
I love it.
You can get paid working for somebody else. You get paid nicely, right?
Yeah.
But I think to your point, building wealth, right,
Yeah.
it's hard to do that unless you're an amazing saver, an investor. You're probably going to build the business, and building the business is so, what I think is attractive about it is it's so much in your control. There's pieces you can't control, but you can also mitigate risks. And there's always, that's something that keeps you up at night is, what is that one thing I'm missing? What could I do a little bit better if I shifted this over here, like we were talking before we filmed? Yeah, to me, that's challenging. And you're answering your phone, you're checking it out. I love that, though. That's what you got to do. You got to do it. So if you got to text somebody, go ahead and get back to them.
No, I'm good. Always putting out fires. I just got texted by one of our guys. We're doing a big bluestone patio, and they were supposed to give us the piece. They're supposed to be 2-foot sections. So the stone place didn't cut them over the weekend, so they're like, we'll take them and cut them. So like you want to get the most out of what you can. So he just texted me, he said the pieces are 7.5 feet, and I'm like, so that means you're gonna have all that waste. So now I'm like, we got to take them back and tell them, that we need ones that work out in 2s.
Wow.
8 would be better than 7.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think normally, and we've had this conversation because this was going to be the year that Bob was going to push back with making things like the old Bob might be like, okay, that's fine. We'll take them. We'll have the extra. So like even if he gets something that he doesn't like at a restaurant, and the new Bob is going to tell people when he doesn't like things.
Yeah, that still hasn't happened really. I just never
met the new Bob yet?
Yeah, no. If we go places to eat, if it's burnt and it sucks, I'll eat it. I won't say anything. I just don't have that in me.
No, but he keeps saying that's what he wants the new Bob to be.
Yeah, I would love it to be that way, but I mean, maybe one of these days, New Bob tried to come out. I bought a new dump truck before Christmas time, and brand new, and I've been having a lot of issues with it. I've always had Fords. I love Fords. I got a good deal on a Chevy, and I'm like, you know what? I like this truck. I'll get it. Had a lot of problems. I have a lot of problems. So already had it up to the dealer twice. The dealer's been great. Had it up to dealer twice, and I wanted a loaner car because the dealer was all the way up in Towanda. And they're like, we don't have one. And I'm like, they're all out. They're like, but there's a Enterprise Rentals right up the road. You can get a rental car. I go, if you think I'm going to pay for a rental car, I said, after bringing this truck up here so many times, I'm like, you have another thing coming. All in all, Jenna came and picked me up anyway because they didn't have a rental car. So,
We tried.
Yeah.
I know.
You could consider hiring a new Bob.
Yeah.
You could hire
that's
a guy or girl who would be that hard-nosed.
I know. That's what I need. That's what I need.
It's baby steps. Change is hard.
Yeah. Yeah. So if anybody's listening, buy Ford.
and hire a new Bob.
Yeah.
Buy Ford. What else? Oh, I wanted to go back real quick. So it sounds like you guys are very in sync with being happy where you are today. Do you feel like with the kids and already listening to some of the cues and picking up and starting their own stuff, do you feel like those decisions were the best? There's no regret? Like you're saying, if I restarted, I'd want to just go all in?
Yeah. I always want for more. I always wish, I don't wish, but I always, I'd like to be like that company. But from what I'm learning, just doing everything, the bigger you get, the more problems you have. One company, a blacktopping company, the owner I'm friends with said, just remember, stay small, keep it all. He told me that years ago, because the more you look at the overheads of these companies, oh my God, like I know what mine costs to run, and you have companies that are 5 times the size, 6, 7 times the size, and it's, the overhead that they must have. So you just have to find that comfort space, I guess, that you like. And yeah, it'd be nice to have more, but do you really need it? You just be happy, be content with what you have. It's good that I'm booked that long. It's good to have that, but a lot of people don't realize though that schedules change, especially when it comes into the trades of excavating, landscaping. You could have over the weekend, you could be working on a job like a lawn, a dirt work job, and get 1.5 inches of rain. The sun could be out the next day, and the client would be like, hey, the sun's out. Well, it's
muddy.
Mud. Like, we really can't get back to do a good job on that for 2 days, 3 days. And old me would have tried to push through that with the mud, but I've learned you spend more in labor and more trying to clean things up and do everything than just letting it sit. It's stuff that you learn over time, how to deal with it.
I also feel that like those past experiences, I wouldn't change anything because it's made us who we are in each season in life. And even like I reflect often about with our kids being teens and they'll be leaving soon, did we make the right decisions when they were younger and stuff like that? But I think that I didn't know any differently to make those decisions. So I have to give my old self some grace with that. But I feel like that has made us who we are. And even taking time off when I took 4 years off from I was out for 4 years when I had kids back to back, and I just being home with them every day and getting to spend that time and doing that because he was working 2 full-time jobs. Like he was working full-time and then the landscaping and letting him do his thing. So he let me do my thing, being a mom and so forth. So I think that all of those experiences have shaped who we are today and have been learning experiences. So I don't think I would change much. Like I feel like teaching was very good to me. I was able to be with my kids and off, like I said, off in the summer. And where I am now today, I just like to be present and be in the moment more than Bob. But I'm always trying to tell him like...
She threw shade at you.
Yeah.
No. But again, just especially because our kids they're going to be gone soon. So just enjoying that family time. We do a lot. We go out to eat a lot. We spend a lot of time with the kids, I think.
That's our time.
And we take some good family trips and meaningful. We're very intentional with our time, I will say. So it's not the quantity of time that we spend, but the quality of time that we spend together. And I think the kids really admire that when they talk about when they're older and they don't want to be away. They want to go to college within 2 hours and they want to come back because they want those same experience. So I think hearing that, I think we did something right, instilling the family values. And we do have families that are also close, and it's taken a village to help us with our family and to help us with the business because we have so many people involved.
Yeah, and like when I first started out, my parents helped me out in the beginning. Like we had an excavator, a small little excavator that they bought, older one, and I used that and a little dump truck and with help from them in the beginning, but then I just ended up building it until what it was. They helped me originally to get going.
Yeah.
So it worked out well.
It's beautiful. I love the multi-generational thing you have going on here.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
Do you have, with your kids, and they're still young, I get that. Do you feel that with your kids as they grow into the adults, right? Do you think about transferring this business to them? Where's that walk that you do where you don't want to, like I grew up in a family building contracting business. And I actually did I felt some pressure to come back and do it. And I did that for a very brief time. But my brother, who's 6 years older than me, already had the wheel. And he was taking it. And I didn't always want to be the little brother to the big brother. We do better apart.
Yeah.
But I look at it with my own kids and with my business, and I've never asked them to get into finance at all. But recently there's a lot of interest in it, and I feel like it makes me feel really good, but I still don't want to ask them. I want them to bang on the door and say, how do I get into that? Do you think about that stuff with your business?
We've had conversations with our oldest kind of being like, I could go the traditional route of college, or I could just work in the business. And Bob was like, you're working in the business. You are not taking over. And those are conversations that we've had. I don't know how much interest that our oldest has, but he's looking to go chemical engineering, right? So we're like, okay, what can you do? Start making ice cream. Maybe you can learn how to make ice cream and bring that back. Or maybe he could bring something back, like he's very good with like inventing things and so forth. So maybe he would invent something and bring it back. But I think they know that it's not going to be handed to them. They have to work. Even my daughter, she just applied for a job at Manning's because I'm like, she needs a job. I'm like, go learn. We're going to be having our own ice cream stand. Go learn how to do it. She's worked in one before. So it's like,
I think
work
you're
for
a little
someone.
obsessed with the ice cream.
I know. I can't wait.
If there's one thing to be obsessed about, I'm in.
Who doesn't?
What's your favorite flavor?
Right? It's funny because I don't eat ice cream.
Oh, stop it.
Are you serious?
I don't.
That's so funny.
I know I'm just like crazy like that. But I do creating the different flavors and sandwiches and stuff like that. So that'll be fun. But I don't know. What do you think?
What's your favorite ice cream?
Vanilla.
Vanilla.
Vanilla soft serve. Yeah.
I want to ask the
Traditional.
question that I think everyone's going to want to know at this point in this podcast. When he rolls up at the end of the day, will you still have butterflies when he comes up to the window to order a chocolate bar?
I do. Yes. Some days.
Or you quick shut the window. Here it comes again.
Or I'll just drive by because I'll see all the people there and I'll be like, I just don't feel like dealing with anybody right now.
Yeah.
I got it. You look like you're always going to put on a smile, though.
I always do all the time. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we balance each other off because I think I need answers and need things done. And Bob's so chill that basically I can't even pick a fight with him half the time because he just lets me go. And he knows that I'm just going to go and get it out and then be over with. But Bob is like that everybody loves Raymond type of person. And it's like, so
Everybody loves Bob.
Doug Heffernan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
What else are we missing here?
I don't know.
What else is going on in your world that is probably pertinent to this conversation? You guys you already threw a lot out there that you're doing.
Yeah.
I want to be cognizant of your time, man, because I know your watch is blowing up.
I'm good.
Why we're going.
I don't know. Everything seems to be moving along all right now. I guess if I like one thing, like business wise, if you talk like that, like anybody starting out a business, make sure in the beginning you get the right people, like you talked about financial, get the right account, have one that's experienced, because the person that we had worked very well for us when our businesses were small and we didn't do anything. But as we kept going, there's a lot of stuff that I have to backtrack now and get. So make sure you get the right people that know what they're, because I didn't have a clue what I needed to do. So make sure you get the right people to do that.
And I think that's probably the biggest thing that I see with people misunderstanding our relationship or our business and our finances, because they don't see the unseen hours, like of what's going on behind the scenes. Oh, that must be nice to have that new equipment or to be going there and this and that. But he's up at 5. I get up about 5:15, 5:30. And then we're constantly, our conversations are revolving around business and the kids in our house and so forth. But they don't see those unseen hours where at maybe 10 o'clock he's getting a phone call that the grass isn't getting watered or something. Like little things like that.
See, and I'm very like, if I know there's somebody I know or whatever that would think that way, like I would avoid pulling up to the gas station with my truck, because I've had those comments before where I've got out of my truck. That's one of those things. I work so hard, I want to have something nice. It's a Ford. It's a Ford. You know? And you've had that, oh, wow, it must be nice. I get that. And I'm like, yeah, when you work 85 to 90 hours a week.
No, and I know even like I've taken a lot of the family role on with the kids and getting them to places and sporting events and stuff like that. And I know that might be Bob's biggest regret is not seeing more of those games. But he gets there when he can. And that's the thing. When people say, oh, it must be nice having your own business flexibility. Yeah, it is nice. But like there's also those times that he would love to be at like work 9 to 5 and then be at the 6 o'clock game. Like they're still, his crew's still working. So he's still working.
I think criticism is a function of time. I feel like the people have a lot more time on their hands, have a lot more space to criticize.
Yeah.
When you're busy like you guys are, you're like, I didn't even think about what that person's doing because I'm busy doing my own thing. Filling up your gas tank. And I always joke about the reason we try to do a great job for our clients here is because I go to the grocery store and I see a lot of clients. And I don't want to duck down the aisle because I'm worried about how the market did or something. This is a bad time to have this conversation. But still, we're doing the right things and we can't control everything, but we're doing what we can, and clients recognize that. But that's important because you fill up your tank a lot, go to the grocery store a lot. You see a lot of your customers, and they repeat. I'm assuming you have a bunch of repeat customers too, right?
Every year. Same thing.
That's a good sign. That's a great sign, actually.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have the same thing every year. So it gets like clockwork where I know like the one side of the business anyway, not like your mulching and everything else. I have those same customers almost every year. So you know what you have there. But it's the other ones like new construction and everything else where they're pretty much all different. But then you'll get them after you do a new construction, you'll get them, hey, can you come back? Can you do that mulch? Can you do the cleanup for me? Which we end up doing.
And I would say landscaping more than anything I could think of is a business that's got, and I don't know the word I would want to use, but like a cloud burst of you get in a cul-de-sac with a new customer and all of a sudden 3 neighbors are like, hey, can I have your card?
Usually. And it's like that because there's a lot of people that we get that people just don't call people back. So we get a lot of people where they're like, we tried calling.
Thanks for returning our call.
And hey, I'm not going to say I'm perfect all the time in that either. There's times where sometimes it got lost in my phone or anything else like that. And when things happen, but I always, even if it's a few days later, I always try to make time to call that person back. And they're always like, oh, I'm glad you called me back. And what I learned too is people want honesty. If you take a job, tell them that you can or you can't do it. Don't take it if you can't do it. Like a few people this year, I said, oh, honestly, really, I don't think I would be able to do it now, or if it wouldn't be till way later. Okay, we've waited this long. I appreciate your honesty. Yeah, we'll look into that. We'll do that because I just had one on Saturday where I said it probably wouldn't be till September. And that's what they said. We waited this long.
Put me on your list.
Yeah, we'll do that. But a lot of things last year were just people that kept adding and adding. And that's where a schedule, you can't keep it. They're adding something on, that's another week.
Whereas then I'm like, why are they, but don't do it now. And the boss like, the machine's there.
Everything's
like, why
would
there.
I do it? You can't.
It's all about moving the machinery.
You can't move it.
That's where my anxiety is like, no, we're already booked for the next week.
It all comes together.
Yeah, it does.
But when you do, this is just old school. This is when you do a really good job for somebody, they'd love to be able to refer you to their friends and family. If they feel that confidence that, whether it's not going to be like the cheapest job, but it's going to be done right. It's going to be done reasonably in time of given weather and all that stuff. It's dependable, it's predictable, and it's good, and it's good people. And they're excited about referring. If it's that person who like never shows, or you're rolling the dice to see if they show up, then or they get hit with a huge bill for all this like extra stuff. It's hard to refer somebody.
That's what I've seen too. You've seen a lot of people where they get an estimate from other companies and then they don't include everything in there. So the final bill is like thousands of dollars more what it was. And I'm happy to say like my estimate is usually right what the final bill is. And I tell people that too. Compare anything. It's not landscaping. Compare what you're actually getting to all their
we say that with sheds too, because people like then we include free delivery, whereas then people charge for delivery. So like adding it up, I'm getting a better deal here, and I'm like, but are you really getting a better deal?
Everybody likes to throw out the low price first, and and they know, all right, we're going to throw out this price, but we know we have $10,000 of add-ons we're going to do later. That company will say, but we won't tell them until they actually accept the job.
Was the phrase starting at?
Absolutely. Starting at.
I know. I love to under-promise and over-deliver.
Yeah. That works out the best.
I feel like we got to let these guys go back to work.
I know. I'm feeling guilty here by the minute.
You want to ask them?
No, I do, but maybe for round 2.
Yeah, I love it.
Whenever.
What are you doing this afternoon?
We have to put out a couple more fires. We have a couple fires on the way over.
Yep.
So working, and then 2:15 car line, and then 3:00 appointments, and schedule like baseball practices and so forth. I get some work in between. Like I'll take my laptop sometimes. We do stuff in the car on the phones.
Yeah. I was just driving around, and then I got to go into work later.
Yeah.
So I want to ask a silly question, man. What, is your worst nightmare the day Jenna calls you and goes, I can't get to the car line, and you do go sit in the car?
I wouldn't even call him. I would call my dad.
Yeah.
I would. No, and that's what's great, like about having family that's shipping and
that's huge.
And I would not bother him with that, because for him, I wouldn't I value his time doing what he does. And it's not to say that like he's not a hands-on dad, but like for him to go to car line wouldn't make sense in logistics of things. So I know, and I enjoy it, like I do. So I enjoyed being home with my kids, and some people like don't want to be home with their kids, and it's too much for them, and it's easier to send them somewhere else. I enjoy that part, and Bob lets me enjoy that because he enjoys doing the other stuff.
You should enjoy it, because from someone who's an empty nester now, you really wish you could have those days back.
Yeah.
That seemed like such a pain, but I would love to rewind that clock.
Yeah.
So enjoy it. I just dated myself.
Thank you guys so much.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Yeah. Another great episode. I appreciate it.
No problem.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Beyond the Bottom Line. Thank you for listening. If this conversation sparked something for you, please let us know. Follow, share, or leave a review. It helps us keep having the conversations we love that you love to listen to. We'll be back in 2 weeks with more real talk from real leaders. Until then, here's to feeling successful beyond the bottom line.